Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Budo Combat podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining us today. Um, there were supposed to be 3 of us, and the third person, CJ, would have had a lot to offer and contribute for this episode in particular, as we talk about health and wellness, among other topics, including but not limited to MMA. How are you doing, Par?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Nice, same here. Yeah, it's Saturday afternoon. Was able to sleep in a little bit more than usual, and yeah, just chilling out for the most part. Yeah, no complaints, man. Um, I'm glad we were able to get together on a call today.
Same here, man. Same here.
Oh, is it my internet that's unstable? I just got a message that said that.
I'm pretty good right now so far.
Could you
It
hear?
could be me.
Okay, did you hear it go robotic for a second by chance as I was talking?
No.
Okay, all good, all good. But yeah, no, we hope to keep this podcast going and bring value to a lot of you guys out there, our audience watching, value in different forms, right? Again, a lot of this is centered around general martial arts, but we get into MMA news and techniques, philosophies, concepts, but we talk about other things too. So we're just a bunch of dudes that know at least a little bit about the wide array of topics. But I think you'd agree, Par, that a lot of our conversation topics are worth recording 100%.
Oh, definitely. We get into like all the interesting intricacies within MMA, whether it be the actual strategy, fight techniques, some of the drama, some of the fun stuff, some of the WWE aspect of it, the entertainment aspect of it. I
Yeah.
think I think we discuss all those things, and it could be of interest for somebody that's looking for an you know, overall channel that discusses everything.
Mm, absolutely. And well, I know you're definitely a special guy for sure. Chris is special. I'm special. Hey, the audience members are special too, but
In
anyhow.
more ways than one, as per some of the last comments of some of our videos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So again, we appreciate your guys, the audience in particular. If you've listened to us so far, we appreciate it. If you guys have any more comments, by all means, drop them down, and we'll do our best to interact with you guys too. So we're still growing, we're still new, we're new at this, and we appreciate your support. And any criticism is always welcome because the internet is open and free speech exists is a thing. But yeah, 2 main topics. So MMA, what's happening in the MMA world. We'll talk a bit about that and health and wellness. So, Parwiz, did you want to open up a bit about the MMA world and what's hot right now?
Yeah, the first topic I want to talk about, which is in all the news channels and everybody's mind, is Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. That's gonna happen. It's booked. I believe it's the UFC 272 card, the April 9th card. It's exciting. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see them on Tough interacting, but hey, at least we got the fight going. They finally settled it. Kind of fishy how Jorge dropped out of the Leon fight, and now 2 months later he's fighting with Colby Covington. So, but I mean, it worked out for us, the fans, right? Because that's the preferable fight you'd want to see. So, I think it's going to be a banger. It has a great story behind it. Friends became enemies. It's kind of like back in the day with Shawn Michaels and I forget the other guy, the training partner, where he betrayed him. I don't know if you remember when he kicked him in the face in front of everybody and like backstabbed them, and like it became like they were tag team partners, and then it became a big drama. So it's sort of like that. It's really interesting. the styles are interesting. Both of these fighters have a shot. So, yeah. What do you think in terms of your perspective, Aziz?
Oh gosh, we got the proclaimed BMF who refuses to put his BMF belt on the line ever. And I don't know if he rightfully captured it in the first place, given it was a doctor stoppage. Like how there's some irony there, BMF. I mean, I think he finished his last three opponents, and then when he fought for the BMF, it was a doctor stoppage. But I think Jorge really needs to put that belt on the line against Mr. Diaz again. Either one of them. Anyhow, um, yeah, but that would be a good fight, 100%. I mean, I think Colby definitely has the one up on Jorge when it comes to the wrestling. And I believe Colby perhaps even gave or taught Jorge a lot of the wrestling knowledge that Jorge has at the moment along the years that they've trained together. I mean, there's lots of footage of that online as well, of back in the day, Jorge and Colby training wrestling together, and with Colby getting the upper hand.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they were close. It seemed like they were close at one point. Then there was a falling out. And yeah, so I don't think any of that has changed. I think Colby still has the upper hand in the wrestling. It's up to it, as far as how the fight will go. As long as Colby keeps utilizing that wrestling to his advantage, and because Colby sort of wasn't really using it against Kamaru Usman in his last fight. It was both fights. I think he may have attempted a couple takedowns and then he stopped going for them.
Yeah, it's arguable if he had one takedown. I guess he got him down. Like it technically could be considered a takedown, but Usman got right back up. So it's subjective.
Yeah, yeah. I know Jorge's been working on his takedown defense as well, primarily in his preparation for Usman. So perhaps things will even out at that point. But long story short, Jorge has to worry about Colby's takedowns. Colby doesn't need to worry about Jorge's takedowns. Secondly, if we talk, striking, the primary one of the primary elements of striking is boxing. And I believe when it comes to pure boxing, Colby Covington may have the one up on Jorge. But in kickboxing, I think Jorge has the one up on Colby. We've seen Jorge's body kicks, for example. I think both of them throw some pretty decent leg kicks, but Jorge has demonstrated body kicks. But now when we throw in the wrestling element, things change a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Cardio wise, I mean, we've seen Colby go 5 rounds continuously, throwing nonstop punches. He's sort of like possibly like high volume puncher, sort of like Nick Diaz 2.0. I would love to see that fight sometime, but
that'd be a bomb.
Yeah, nonstop punches, good cardio, good wrestling. I mean, sort of like Robbie Lawler 2.0-esque as well. Yeah. So I don't know. Have we seen Jorge go 5 rounds in the past? I don't know if this would be a 5-round fight anyway. 3 rounds.
I think he went 5 rounds with Usman on their first matchup, but it was impressive and it was short notice. But like Usman mostly just like held him to the cage and clinched him and just foot stomped him the first match, and then he redeemed himself by knocking him out, as everyone may know, in the second. I'd say like the other thing to factor in is Jorge's kicks. They're going to be mitigated more by the fact that if he does kick, he could get a takedown. So it might be, I don't know. I think Colby has the advantage, as you've indicated, but you can't count Jorge out because he seems to fight better when he's mad at the person or he doesn't like the person. He seems to do that, and he may know of some holes. They've trained together, right? So he may know of some holes that Colby still has that maybe he didn't show in the training, or maybe Colby might not remember that he knows about those holes, and
Yeah.
he could could get a shot. Like he still has a shot. He has a big. I know Kobe's for most people is the favorite, but I'd say Jorge still has a shot. And if he won that, I think he'd become an even bigger star if he actually can pull off the Kobe thing. Because I don't know. I don't know much about their falling out, but my understanding was that Kobe didn't pay Jorge's coach, and that's a bitch move. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't do that to your friend. It's a bitch move. So I'd say Kobe deserves a nice ass beating, even though Jorge, I used to be a big fan. I'm not as much anymore because of all the Jorge style stuff. But like the Jake Paul thing, like backstabbing MMA just to get, feeds.
Some clout, yeah.
It kind of turned me off. I didn't even care that he lost. Like, I'm not the kind of person that's a bandwagon. Like, oh, he lost, I don't like him anymore. No, like, part of me still felt bad when he got knocked out by Usman, right? But then I was just like, I don't know. He's not as real as he says he is. So I don't know. Like, it's not like I'm a huge fan of both these guys, but the story, the fight, everything makes it real exciting.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, Jorge has turned into a clout chaser, as they say, right? Chasing clout, and I get it. I guess he's seen a lot of people make money that way, and he's trying to secure his future as well, recognizing that what is there to do after fighting, especially after your body takes so much punishment.
Definitely.
It's not like there's a pension for these fighters, but that's a different topic altogether. I feel where he's coming from. Respect. There's a bit of respect there, but I guess there's a fine line between selling out and doing what you got to do.
Yeah, like if he became the villain earlier before he was popular, like the way Kobe did it to become popular, then I wouldn't it wouldn't be as bad. But you're already popular. You're already a huge star. Like, you're really gonna chase this YouTuber and become a part of his bandwagon when he's talking shit about MMA fighters, even if it's someone you beat or someone you don't like. Like, you let that shit go with Ben Askren. You let that shit go after he admitted the loss and he stopped, right? You beat him. Why would you rub it in his face?
Yeah.
Kind of a weak move, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And I think that goes with a lot of people, even though, Ben Askren might have said some stupid things, Kobe's probably even worse, right? But it's how you sell fights too, right? So you have to look at it from that perspective. But yeah, overall, I'd say it's going to be a great fight. There's a lot of story towards it, but likely Kobe's going to take it just because of all the advantages. But if Jorge does, it's going to be like a pleasant surprise for a lot of people. So
yeah,
because I think in this situation, Jorge seems like he's in the right. I don't know the whole story, but it seems like he's in the right. You train with somebody. It's like me. Like, if I asked you for lessons, right? And you know what I mean? Or like, if I got another friend, a really close friend of mine, and he got lessons from you, and you told me he didn't pay you, that would not be cool. That would not be cool. And I would talk to him first, obviously, right? But if he's refusing to pay, he's got a lot of money. I'm sure Jorge's coach wasn't demanding millions of dollars or like unfeasible amount of money. So I don't know. I don't know the full story, but I don't know. I tend to side with Jorge on the whole drama situation.
Yeah. So with that said, who are you rooting for, and who do you think will win?
It's like I said, it's hard to say who I'm rooting for. I don't really like any of them anymore. Usually it'd be Jorge. I'm kind of rooting for Jorge just because of the principle, but I think my mind says Kobe's gonna pull it off.
Yeah. In this case, I'm indifferent with regards to who wins. I hope the better fighter wins. I'm not too emotionally invested as I am with some other fights. Obviously, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it. I think Jorge, overall, like, Jorge's got some tricks up his sleeves.
Yes.
That I think that Kobe will mitigate over the long run. And yeah, so I think Colby is going to win it. But
yeah, Kobe's got a chin too, eh? Like he took shots from Usman and got right back up. He's a
yeah,
tough son of a gun.
yeah,
Like
like I think they're both on the decline still. With that said,
he definitely.
like Kobe's 33 still, he's young, and Jorge is 37.
That's correct.
Yeah, so just that alone is a big factor.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, so moving on, was there another big fight that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, next weekend, Ngannou versus Gane.
Oh,
It's a huge fight. It's not doesn't have the great card that it should. A lot of people are saying UFC is downplaying it, or not downplaying it, but not adding too much to the card. So Francis, like, there's a lot of drama behind this. Like, Francis is actually going through a lot. He's on the last fight of his contract. He's he's going against the world, basically. He's going against the UFC. He's going against his old coach. And he still has to fight a very technical Ciryl Gane. And I think there's a chance that this could be a factor. You have a lot of distractions, but I don't know. I'd say like the second Miocic fight really showed me that Ngannou is strong mentally, having Usman in his corner and being able to like have that discipline. I think he has changed his game. So it's still anybody's fight. That's my opinion. Gane is very, very fast on his feet, right? Like he's athletic. He moves like a almost like a middleweight, or he's a heavyweight, which is phenomenal.
yeah.
So he's very technical and he's all around, but he's still young in the sport. So like he may have done a lot of good things to Derek Lewis, which Ngannou couldn't do back then. But like, as we well said, MMA math doesn't really add up, right? Doesn't always add up, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right. That's right. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's right. There's a lot that Ngannou is dealing with. He's facing several fights outside of the literal upcoming fight, which can serve as distractions. So he's like up against multiple distractions. Um, yeah, Cyril. I mean, but with regards to the technical component, the actual fight, and how it'll go, yeah, I mean, this really, in my opinion, is the two best heavyweights in the world, the two most dangerous heavyweights in the world, probably most skilled heavyweights. Um, and not just in the UFC or MMA, but really like probably up there, like compared to the boxers as well, I would say, compared to the kickboxers. I mean, Ngannou for sure is a special specimen. He's a beast that has like the touch of death. Usually it's the NFL that tries to pick up the caliber of athlete that Ngannou is, right? The Ngannous of the world would get picked up by the NFL. I mean, not direct from Africa by any means, but Ngannou paved this path for himself 100%. And that story is very interesting as well, going from
yes,
Africa to France.
on a
And
boat with his hands. If you've ever seen the documentary, Molly Wop has an amazing documentary about Ngannou's story, and if you ever doubted him, it'll definitely make you think twice about doubting a guy that's been through so much adversity and built his way to become heavyweight champion of the world.
yeah, amazing. I'll check it out. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But a note to myself that I'll check that out because, Par, so far your recommendations through word of mouth are pretty pristine, I'd say. So yeah, Ngannou's up there when it comes to all of the athlete base in the world. He has the touch of death. I think he can compete with a lot of the boxers as is. And he's still very young. There's some people in the world, like some of the special people, that they have like an old soul and an old look. even though they're still young, right? So like LeBron James was one of them. When he was a young man, he looked, like he was in his 40s.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Tupac, who passed away at what, 27 years old, I think. Um, Jimi Hendrix, who passed away at 27. Like these guys were just old souls, right? Like
But
it's
they live like it's like they lived a full life at such a young age, which is amazing, right? That's the
yeah,
amazing part about them.
yeah. And I feel
They
like,
express so much.
oh yes. And I think when people have this look to them, I'm sure maybe sometimes it's beyond just the look itself. I'm sure there's more to it. But I mean, I think Ngannou is going to be one of those special people if he's not it yet. So that was just another side note.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he's got the touch of death. His boxing is coming along. I think against Miocic, he was throwing some pretty functional kicks as well. I mean, primarily he's a boxer for sure, but we've seen what he's done to everyone that he's fought. Yeah, he's had some hiccups against Miocic the first time, and so he got paralyzed from taking some shots, and then that paralysis lingered into his fight with Derek Lewis as well. But I don't think that's something we need to worry about going forward with Ngannou. He does have um, some bad habits. So, for example, I think when he throws his right hand, when he throws his right cross, he'll tend to drop his left hand. It might. I mean, I don't want to be too critical of that. At a certain point, a fighter develops his own style once they get past the textbook. I think Ngannou is past the textbook, and he can sort of throw it away. Um, I mean, he can combo his punches pretty good. So if any of those punches land within the combo, it's pretty much game over, more or less. Um, so yeah, so you got that
Yeah.
versus Ciryl Gane, who up and comer, probably the next best heavyweight in the world, who hasn't yet been put on the main stage yet, and I think he's just a little bit younger than Francis Ngannou. Um, I'd say more technical, very relaxed, very confident. He's had a lot of Muay Thai fights against heavyweights as well. I don't think we've seen any weaknesses in Cyril's game just yet. Um, I mean, he's sort of made from an archetype perspective. I think he's in line with Alistair Overeem, sort of one of my favorite fighters back in the day. I'm an old school MMA fan. But Ciryl Gane is sort of like the Alistair Overeem of our modern day, like crazy striking, still, but in this case, he's still very young. So yeah, very technical, um, very relaxed, uh, and he has a chin still.
Oh
He
yeah.
hasn't lost his chin just yet. But yeah,
You could
um,
also argue that he's more athletic too.
as you
A
were
more
saying,
athletic version.
a more athletic version of Overeem is what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when Overeem was younger, um, I wouldn't mind rewatching those when because Overeem fought at 205 as well.
Mm.
Pretty much sort of looked like John Jones at the time then.
Oh wow.
Um,
No,
but
and Overeem's like one of the best to ever do it. And that's not deniable. He's got a lot of he's a legend.
mm, yeah. So as you were saying regarding athleticism, Cyril moves like a middleweight. It's crazy to watch. So we have two different beasts fighting at heavyweight, who, in my opinion, are quite literally the best heavyweights in the world for different reasons. And it's a great fight to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I personally in this, I don't know, like I really like Ciryl Gane, not only for the way he fights, but I also like the way he carries himself. He's pure class. You know, he's very calm, very intelligent, very cerebral. Even the way he fights, you know, he, he does care about what people think too. Like that was evident, I think, in the Rosenstrike fight. Even though he played a perfect fight cerebrally, he was judged because he didn't get the knockout. That's not really his style of fighting, right? So like he stays with what he can do, but he ended up getting a knockout on Derek Lewis, which says a lot, right? Like Derek Lewis, I don't know, I don't even think he's been knocked down before. Like, and I think he has the most knockouts in the UFC. So to be able to knock out a guy like that, like I like Ciryl Gane, but I don't know, for some reason, just because of what Francis has gone through, and the fact that he's actually going up against, what you could argue as the more powerful, the Goliath of the UFC. He's actually he's fighting the good fight. I would want Francis to win this one. Normally, I would actually pick Ciryl Gane because I've been a fan of him since he started. But in this case, just because of the whole what this victory represents, I'm gonna root for Francis.
Wow. This one's tough. I mean, just like with the previous matchup, Jorge Masvidal versus Colby Covington, it's hard to choose who I want to win. I mean, in this case, I like both of them. I like both Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane. With Francis, it's the adversity, and with Ciryl, it's the, well, they both have great personalities, good character. Yeah, seem like good-hearted people. Yeah, I can't choose between the two regarding who I think will win.
It's hard. I barely decided, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And
it's only because of what Francis is going through.
Yeah.
And I want the fighters to have more power.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
I just hope that no one gets hurt here. And I feel this way about all fights, but in particular, very specific matchups, like when Tony Ferguson fights, I hope no one gets hurt there. I hope Tony doesn't get hurt. Not to change the topic by any means, but in this case, we're dealing with heavyweights, like both really good guys who are good for the sports as well. I hope no one gets hurt, but I feel like Ciryl has an ability to regulate the pace of the fight. So if the opponent goes hard, Ciryl will punish the opponent for going hard, and then Ciryl will dictate the fight, the pace of the fight, not at a super high level, but at just a little bit higher than the opponent, and the opponent will feel comfortable with that. So they'll be fighting here. Ciryl will be a little bit higher in terms of pace and energy and impact and aggression. And if the opponent does try to bring it here, then Ciryl will bring it here. And the opponent will be like, oh, fudge. And the opponent will bring it down, and then Ciryl brings it down here. And he ends up regulating. He's a step ahead, yeah. But he'll punish the opponent. Whenever the opponent brings the aggression here, Ciryl will take it up several notches. And then it's a mental thing. Then the opponent will be like, oh, no, I don't want that. So then they both bring it down here, and the opponent will get comfortable here because he doesn't want Ciryl to go all the way here again. So Ciryl will sort of like beat them up slowly over a certain period of time here. And if the opponent tries this, Ciryl will come all the way up here. I've seen this with who's that Russian fighter, the really tall Russian fighter that
Volkov?
Volkov, yeah, he did that with Volkov. There was a lot of mental, psychological warfare happening there. And I think he'll do that with Ngannou as well. So
yeah, but I think how Francis wins is if at one point he just goes way too hard and just tries to plow through him. I think that's his best opportunity of winning.
It's almost like whenever Francis throws a punch or a kick, it automatically goes up there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like you said, Ciryl Gane's pace, distance management is second to none. So it's not going to be easy. But
yeah,
if I was in Cyryl's corner or coach, not that I know everything, but I would say just take a couple of his shots and try to keep going. Like I know the counters can be hard and Cyryl's going to respond accordingly, but like you're either going to take it the rest of the fight or you're just going to risk it and try to go all out, because he'll just slow you down unless you actually blitz him.
Yeah.
So like I would say either you blitz for a shot or go to the takedown, or you'd have to mix it up. But I think Ngannou needs to blitz and be prepared to take a shot and try to go through it.
Yeah. Well, no, like Ngannou is also developing his athleticism, and we saw that against Miocic, that leaping jab cross that he did against Miocic. Um, so yeah, Ngannou also has the distance management and the timing that's continuously being refined. But who knows? He might even throw a takedown in, and I think it would be smart of him to do so. Can you imagine a beast like Ngannou taking people down and crowded pounding them? And
It would
again,
be crazy.
Ciryl comes from a kickboxing background, so I don't know how much he's been working on his grappling as well.
Yeah, I think he has good grappling, and he'd be the type that would be good in the submission game in the jiu-jitsu. I think he'd be better than Ngannou. But if Ngannou gets in a good position, he can do a lot of punishment on Ciryl.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, understood and agreed. So any other good fights approaching that are worth talking about here?
Tonight, baby, tonight. Huge fight that's actually being undershadowed by the current champion Volkanovski. Giga Chikadze versus Calvin Kattar. I think the winner of this, especially if it's Giga, has a legitimate chance at a title shot. If Giga goes out and does something spectacular, if he's able to knock down Calvin after Max Holloway couldn't, if he's able to have a spectacular performance, UFC should actually jump this guy up to fight Volkanovski next, because he has look what he did to Edson Barbosa last time. He has a lot of power, right? So, and he's a good wrestler too. So
yeah, I mean, Giga is someone that came into the UFC a little bit late in his career. Correct me if I'm wrong. And not that that's a problem. Like very similar to Israel Adesanya, who had many Muay Thai kickboxing bouts, and they made a concerted decision to come into MMA late, a little bit late, while he worked on refining his kickboxing. But yeah, Giga is up there as well. Yeah, so Giga has a Kyokushin karate background. Actually, he's trained in a couple of different karate styles and has degree black belts beyond the first. I think in one style he has a third degree black belt, and the other style he has a first degree black belt. So I resonate with his style, being a foundational karate practitioner. So he's got the karate background. I'm a big fan of traditional martial arts, and I want them to succeed. Maybe another time we can talk about combative sports and what are martial arts and the roots of them. And I mean, hey, there's a reason why we're into this topic in general, and that's because so many people, there's a reason it's so popular and it's gotten this popular. And one of the reasons is so many people can relate to martial arts for so many different reasons, be it through wrestling, be it through some of the old school traditional stuff, be it through boxing. But it's this warrior culture exists in many parts of the world. But Giga Chikadze comes from the Georgians are sort of warrior races themselves, aren't they? They're a warrior race. I mean, they've gone through some adversity more recently in recent years as a result of the Soviet Union, as much similar to what other countries have been through with the invasion of the Soviet Union.
The Dagestanians, the Chechens, right?
Yeah,
actually, if you listen to his interview, he talks really similar to Khabib and Khamzat. It's uncanny. He always says smash. I'm gonna smash these guys. He always says, he talks like that. So it is very similar, that region. It's all very tough warriors, right? And there's another guy that's on the come up too, Merab. I think Merab Dalishvili or something like that. He's also from that region, and he's been representing, especially in his last fight. So I'd agree with that. They're tough people.
Like they got to fight. They had to fight for their independence, and this was during Giga Chikadze's era as well. So I believe he was a part of that independence sort of revolution of sorts. But I'm very opinionated about some history. We don't need to go into it in this channel, but
We will. I think the history is interesting. Like it tells you about the person's story, right? Like,
yeah. But the Soviet Union, they just ravaged so many countries and turned so many countries upside down. It's really sad what a lot of people in the world had to go through as a result. Not just through this, yeah, the Soviet invasions have been um, extremely damaging, for
oh
sure.
yeah,
I mean, we're lucky,
all these superpower invasions, right? Where they're interfering with other people's
yeah,
countries.
continuously, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he in some ways he represents many people of the world. They can relate to that. So yeah, warrior. He seems like a warrior, a real warrior who put his time in the martial arts, started martial arts at age 5, and has continuously been working on his martial arts, working with different coaches, different styles, competing in different organizations with different rules. And I've seen him train as well. I've seen footage of him training, hitting pads non-stop. Like this guy doesn't get tired, man. He
His
gets,
kicks, man. Have you seen his kicks?
oh yeah, I have the liver
They're
shot.
devastating. I would not want to be on the other side of that kick, man.
Hmm.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's got like perfect distance, perfect snap. He he doesn't telegraph that kick either. He's always switching stances continuously. So really confusing fighter, and he'll put power and momentum into that kick without you really like realizing it. He'll hit you in that liver. He'll fake low and go high. He'll switch his stance and throw shots from different angles. Um, and I feel like he's going to be another one of those special fighters like Israel Adesanya, like Ciryl Gane, these kickboxers who spent a lot of time refining their striking over many years. Um, and yeah, he's someone to watch. That's for sure. He's someone to watch.
Yeah, and I guess I would say like Calvin Kattar, one of his ways or keys to his victory is to stay out of that kicking range, get in the boxing range, and try to mix it up with his boxing expertise. I would say that would be his best chance or best shot against Giga.
Hmm.
He's taken a lot of damage in the last fight, but he shouldn't be counted out by any means. He was on a huge tear before the Max Holloway fight, and it's Max Holloway. Like it's arguable he's the best right now. Actually, like a lot of people would say that he won at least one of those fights against Volkanovski. So he's at a pure elite level. So it doesn't mean that Calvin Kattar should be discounted. I think he's a tough guy, and he'll bring a lot. But in terms of like we talked about technical, I would say Giga has the advantage, technical and
Yeah,
power.
yeah, that's right. We spent some time talking about Giga Chikadze. You just talked a bit about Calvin Kattar. Yeah, who's demonstrated good skill, good ability to win, good boxing. Um, and yeah, he's still very dangerous. I know he got outboxed by Max Holloway, but yeah, Max Holloway is also a very special fighter. A lot more experienced than Calvin Kattar, older than Calvin Kattar. So Kattar is still a bit new to MMA, I would say. But yeah, pure boxing, I would say Calvin Kattar would probably outbox Giga Chikadze. And yeah, so I agree. The keys to Calvin Kattar's victory are to stay in boxing range, stay aggressive, sort of use a tender aggression. Don't be too aggressive because Chikadze will take advantage of that. But don't stay in kickboxing range either. Either stay purely on the outside and then fake coming in, and then
Yeah, he's got to
eventually.
be fast on his feet, man. Like he's got
Yeah,
to like jump back in, jump back out,
that's
mix
right.
it up. He's got that's his best shot. Like unfortunately, I don't think this was the best matchup for him, but who knows? he could pull it off, and if he does pull it off, it'll be huge.
Yeah.
Like Calvin's stock will go up once again, even though it's still arguable that it's really high.
Yeah.
After what he did on that ABC Fight Night card, like just showed high level of resilience.
That's the thing. Yeah, he's very resilient. Calvin Kattar is a dog. I don't think you can put him away too easily. I mean, both of them have a challenge in front of them, that's for sure. Have we seen? Okay, yeah, both got good cardio. I think in an actual fight, it's been demonstrated by Kattar more than it has by Chikadze in MMA. But yeah, and then there's the grappling element too. I think Georgians naturally do train wrestling and everything they do, but then again, Kattar is also American, and so I'm sure he's exposed to a lot of American styles.
His wrestling's good, Kattar. So like that's why I don't know, like from that, it's not exactly the same as the Dagestani and Chechen region in terms of wrestling, but I guarantee that he's had some exposure to sample.
Yeah.
Like so, Giga, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, another thing, Giga also, one of his coaches he trains with is a guy named Barry Robinson, who I've been following on Instagram, who continuously talks about the rhythm step. Anyway, I've tried to wrap my head around the rhythm step, but I understand what it is now. And it's basically how a lot of fighters have this prevalent rhythm step that they do, which gives away their next movement. And you can read an opponent from this rhythm step that they do. Anyway, I just thought I would throw that in because I follow him on Instagram and I think he's pretty good. And he's been training, he trained Giga Chikadze a long time ago. There's footage of Giga as like a teenager being trained by Barry Robinson. And Barry's still posting stuff on Instagram a lot these days. But yeah, so I think Giga Chikadze is going to win that. But again, both very young fighters, both up and coming dogs for sure. Oh, yeah. And I think both of them would be champions in the UFC maybe 10 years ago.
Definitely. Stars. Like Calvin Kattar would be a huge star. 10 years ago, he would be huge.
Yeah,
he's got the Boston accent, you know, he's got the toughness, the grittiness, you know, he'd be huge.
Yeah, I mean, George St. Pierre versus Karo Parisian in their low 20s were fighting in the UFC. Like they were starting to become huge as well. The competition's changed quite a bit these days, and the sport has evolved a lot since then. So it's tough. I mean, hey, back in the day, in the early days of the UFC, when I was in my high teenage years, I thought I could compete with these guys, but I don't know if I would even compete with the featherweights these days. So it's changed a lot.
It's crazy, eh? They dedicate their whole life to it, right? So, and like just the people that come out of these different parts of the world, you know, like that's been through a lot of stuff, right? So they're just warriors, like you were saying, right? So it's like you're competing with that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're competing with these Dagestanis and Chechens and Georgians who have been quietly cultivating their skills without being Africa, yeah, without being like, without showing it to the world just yet, without not doing it to build a name for themselves, just doing it because that's their craft. They're doing it to
partly because they have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least in Dagestan, it's like you either train for the military, for the civilian irregular army, the militia, or you train wrestling, one or the other. You're not doing it to like really build a name for yourself, other than I guess for the Olympics, which a lot of Dagestanis do win the Olympics and make it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so let's just do a quick time check. So it's 2:52. Damn, we were talking about the upcoming matchups for about 45 minutes or so. Should we do a quick rundown of our health and wellness, about ourselves, and how these days, how we choose to be the best version of ourselves day to day, and how we manage these things?
Yeah, you can start.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, this would have been a great topic for our boy CJ as well. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it on the call. Um, had some issues with the, well, not for me to get into. Perhaps next week, if he's feeling better, and when he's feeling better, he can join and speak to it himself. But he has a lot of wisdom to share through personal experience as it relates to health and wellness, um, especially due to events which occurred more recently. So yeah, looking forward to having him talk about it perhaps on the next call. But for me, myself, oh gosh, I don't know if I can summarize this, man. This is a very personal topic that is like, I don't want to skim past any details here, but yeah, because some of it requires me to give a preface and background about who I am and where I come from. But I'll try my best to summarize it still. Um, yeah, so health and wellness, especially these days in the winter, vitamins, vitamins and minerals, vitamin D, glucosamine, multivitamins. These are things that I've recently gotten into that I've neglected because I eat well for the most part, but I've also increased my training. So I've increased my martial arts based training, training myself and training other people in martial arts. And so I get this. I sometimes forget to go outside for a walk or get my daily dose of sunlight. And so the vitamin D is very important because it's sort of an illusion, right? You think you don't need to go out for your walk. You don't really want to because it's cold outside. But if you're staying active, that makes you further not want to go outside for a walk because you think you're getting it through your workouts. So I mean, I've messed this up a little bit. I've decreased my strength training and increased my general martial arts training. So, multivitamins, glucosamine for joint health, and vitamin D for all the sunlight that I'm missing out on. Um, so, maybe I should include the walking in there because I think walking is still a very important primal movement pattern. You know, sometimes I joke when I say that my fighting movement, my combative movement, is better than my non-combative movement. There's some fighters where we can say the same about them, like Muhammad Ali. Like as when he had arthritis, he was struggling to walk. But oh, sorry, not arthritis, Alzheimer's syndrome. Yeah, Alzheimer's syndrome is what he had, right? My apologies, Parkinson's syndrome. He didn't have Parkinson's disease, Parkinson's syndrome. So outside of his competition in the ring, you could see something was a little up, but when he was in the ring, he was still fluid. So sometimes I joke around about that, where I'm like, yeah, I do my martial arts, karate stances, and movement, and my stances better than I walk sometimes. But I think walking is still very important. We should still do that on the regular. But because I'm not doing it as much in the winter, I'm not getting as much sunlight. Because all my training is indoors, I should still be taking those vitamins. Also, as I've decreased my strength training and increased my martial arts training, I do realize that it's still important to warm up. Sometimes the martial arts training occurs over several hours. I might get my warm up in at the start, and then I might forget to warm up again before I crank it up again, like 2.5 hours later. And next thing you know, my muscles are cold and I get a sprain or two. So I'm still recovering from a lingering knee sprain and a lower back sprain. So takeaways are, because it's taking a long time to heal, I've realized that I do need to increase my strength training to get the muscle, the padding, the yeah, what's it called? And
the exterior kind of built around the muscle. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
I know you're probably searching for a term.
I'm looking
I
for a
probably
word.
don't know.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
recall right now, but it is important to still use weights. So for me, weight training is still very important, and you'll hear this from a lot of top martial artists, especially as they get a little older. You got to use weights if you're going to be on your feet often and do your martial arts activities often. So I've reintroduced a lot of strength training in my specifically for my lower body to help my sprains recover, to strengthen the muscles around the sprains and help them recover faster. But this will also prevent future sprains from reoccurring. Also, heat packs. I've neglected the use of heat packs my entire life, but they do help in improving recovery simply by adding blood flow, increasing blood flow in that area, in that region, and that extra blood does help recover things a lot quicker and keep the muscles around the area warm to prevent aggravation around that sprain. Physiotherapy, I mean, if we have jobs that have insurance, definitely we got to take advantage of physiotherapy. I've neglected that for a long time in my life. I didn't think I needed it, but now that I'm 33, I'm getting up there. It's not like everything I'm eating is purely organic, but I do know that, or I've heard it from many people, eating right will help you recover faster in your injuries. Doesn't matter what kind of injury. It could be like, broken arm. It could be your internal organs. It could be anything. Eating properly, organic, and not junk will, prevent injuries and help you recover a lot faster. And so, what was that? Sprains, how to address that would be strength training, physiotherapy, heat packs, and that's what I'm working on right now. So remember, squats help with strengthening your knees. So just because your knee is injured doesn't mean you can't do squats. But if you have a injured lower back as well, that would make it difficult to do squats. But you can still, doesn't mean you stop it altogether. You can use machines and lots of different stretching. By the way, it's hard to target the lower back in stretches as well. But you got to hit it from different angles. In addition to all that regarding health and wellness, I think it's important to stay motivated and energized by doing what you love to do. So it's important to do vision planning. A lot of it is like mental health and wellness is very mental as well. So to create like a strategic plan for yourself for the year. Now that we're in January, I think it's a good time to create a strategic plan for ourselves. And then literally like draw it out, what are the pillars, what are the major themes in our lives that we want to accomplish, write it out, color it, do it in a sketchbook, take your time on it, literally draw out the pillars, put the shade in, highlight, whatever you want to do. It's your own strategic plan. You personalize it. And when you draw it out with your hands and use your bones and your physiology to put it on paper, in my opinion, there's a higher chance that you will accomplish that. And so it'll make you more energized. It'll motivate you. And those are all very important for health and wellness as well.
But it goes with all goals. Like if you write something down, even if you're studying, they say that if you write it down, you remember it 30% more. So definitely agreed with that approach.
Yeah, so that's my quick summary of health and wellness. I could have extended it a lot more, but I tried my best to summarize it there. How about you, man?
That's a good summary. I don't know. As you guys have been made me aware in our previous podcast, I'd say that I'm just a regular guy. So I have stints where I try to do a lot of healthy things and get into those things, and then as for everybody, I have stints where I'm not doing so much healthy things. But the way I try to mitigate some of my bad habits is I go on cleanses. Like I'll do a month of just like intermittent fasting or a couple weeks of intermittent fasting where I'll just go to work. I won't eat till I come home, and when I come home, it's just healthy food. So I guess the beauty behind intermittent fasting is that it gives your digestive system time to rest. It actually builds your immune system because you're not spending that energy digesting. So, there's a lot of research that points to the benefits. I personally enjoy it because of the practicality, of being able to. When I'm at work, I also think faster when I'm not eating. I know it may sound counterintuitive and the opposite for many people, but for me, anyways, I can focus better, and I can, be a quicker thinker, which is what I need for my line of work. So, it benefits me in those aspects, as long as many others. I've also tried uh, fasting with only drinking for 3 days straight, just drinking like salt water for 3 days. I'll still stay active. I'll still go out on the lake, and that's one of my other hobbies. I love swimming. I can swim, and I like swimming in up to colder water, and I believe in hydrotherapy, which is immersion in cold and hot water. Both of them doing separate things. Cold water being really good um, for your cells, right? Specifically, also being good for your mental health. It releases a lot of serotonin and endorphins, and also is very good for inflammation. So, like, the cold water actually stimulates and energizes your mitochondria, which is like the energy house of the cell. So it's very, very, very good for you. So I recommend it to anyone. Cold showers, swimming in the lake when you can. I'm trying to build up. I think I got till the end of October where I was in the lake. So I'm slowly trying to progress that to even be able to handle the colder. Hopefully into November and December. I'm just going to keep gradually pushing it along so I can handle it better. And then, like, warm water therapy, I think that's even better. So I'm looking into getting a sauna, either installing it or making one. There's a study out of Finland that found that people that do sauna therapy relatively 2 to 3 times a week lived 20% longer, had a
Oh,
better quality of life. And it's not just like this study. There's a lot of things that it helps with blood flow. If you have pains, it helps your heart. It's really good for your heart. So if you have any history of heart problems in your family, I would definitely recommend a sauna. And if you can't afford it, I have a little trick that I do. I've told Aziz about this in the past. Is what I'll do is I'll put a towel underneath my washroom that has like a tub. So, and then I'll turn on the shower with the curtain closed and let it steam. I'm basically hot boxing my bathroom there. The steam with water, of course. Nothing else. Come on. Anyways, so yeah, I'll hot box it, and then, like, with the hottest heat, and then I'll turn off the shower and just let it go through the normal sink in the tub, and to put it a little colder. And then when I'm getting in, it's pretty hot, but you start sweating and you just feel the same effects as a sauna for, well, you can argue much cheaper. Make sure you have a good ventilation system though, to avoid mold and stuff like that. So that's some of the things I do. I'm not really that much into vitamins. I'm thinking of going on to a program where, like, I have at least a powder that I can get all my fruits and vegetables every day. But I don't know. I wholeheartedly believe that um, it's good to get all your nutrients from food, but it's not practical. Like, I would say it's preferable to get it from food, but it's not always
yeah.
practical. So you probably likely will be missing out if you don't consider those options, especially for convenience these days.
Yeah, like I've had, just to add on that, veggie greens powder with built-in multivitamins. I swore by that for many years back in the day. So you just reminded me. Yeah, I recently bought another variation of that without the multivitamin, but it's a quick hit, right? It's a quick, one time you get all your vegetables in one quick drink. If you don't like the taste of it, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, there's
Do you
always.
feel energized after like one dose of that? Do you feel different? Would you say?
Yeah, I think when I was at my most optimal, I was having my veggie green drink daily, among other things as well. But yeah, I think it's important to get into that, like to find that operational lifestyle, all the check boxes that you got to do day to day and do it continuously. It takes time to get into your most optimal zone, mental and physical. But yeah, I if I recall correctly, it did help. But I think what helped a lot also was just an accumulation of doing the right things on a regular basis, so that if I did miss it a few times here and there, I was still good because of my lifestyle over a long period of time.
Nice.
So yeah, no, but you said some good things there, man. Fasting, I haven't really, well, apart from Ramadan, I haven't really touched intermittent fasting too much. Thankfully, during intermittent fasting, we can still have coffee, so that should make it a little easier.
Oh, definitely.
With your intermittent fasting, you would do 16 hours off, 8 hours on. Is that right?
Yeah, sometimes it goes up to 18. It depends on the day, like or when I get home. So like it will depend.
Yeah,
or when I stop eating that night. Like I try not to eat too late when I'm doing it, and I've had a lot of success in terms of weight loss and all that stuff.
I've seen those transformations. Yeah, and you also were doing a 100 push-up challenge as well. Have you reintroduced that?
I have actually. I was gonna bring that up. They started 4 days ago, and I've been consistent.
Nice.
And you're right. When I did it last time, I only did it for 2 weeks, and I think you even noticed the difference. So it's like, I guess for just people that are just trying to get back on things again, and they haven't really found their tune in terms of staying active and having a healthy lifestyle. I think that doing push-ups or doing like a small changes, it helps. Like, cause like it's not easy, like, but like it's all starts with a small adjustment. And then once you see the results, you can actually get motivated by it.
Yeah, just do those push-ups right before your showers, guys. And listen to your podcast or whatever it is. But yeah, at first stuff, and you just tell yourself you're going to do it, and you do it. And push-ups are major. But yeah, and I've also seen you on the lake as well in September when it can get pretty cool. When we went camping, I've seen you go swimming out there. So I mean, I have a pretty low body fat percentage. I'm probably
that helps me a lot. I'm like a bear in there. Like a polar bear.
That's your best in the lake, I would say, right? Like that's your environment. That's your.
Oh yeah, man. I love it. I fucking love it. I don't know what it is. It's just like, I don't know. And it's not like I just prefer cold water, but like it's just like being in the lake. As soon as you get past that little bit of cold, and I find I get rid of it by just swimming, because your body heat goes up, right? And I don't swim the fastest I can because I don't want to get a cramp, right?
Yeah.
And I don't swim in deep waters, so I'm not crazy about it, right? I'll swim in a shallow water, go horizontal, not go right into the deep waters of the lake, right? So like I have a technique to it, and that's worked for me in terms of just mental and physical health. It's just not around in the winter time, so it's kind of like a hibernation season for me right now. So I just got to find other ways to stay active. I also have VR boxing on the Quest. I do that once a week, twice a week, depending.
Nice. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a continuous topic, and we always sometimes introduce new things or fall off our little routines. So I think it's important to continuously discuss these items, our health and wellness and lifestyle, and on the mental side as well as on the physical side. And just it's important to be continuously reminded. I mean, I told myself I was taking a shower while I was taking a shower at noon today after my karate session with my sensei. Because I do that every Saturday morning. I'll have my one-on-one with my sensei where we go over some of our katas, our karate katas, and our forms and the basics. And I'm always, even from the basics, I'm always learning new stuff. But anyway, as I was getting ready for this podcast, I took a quick shower. And while I was in the shower, I told myself, I'm going to take a cold shower when this is done. I'm going to finish it off with a quick, I usually do like 100, I usually do 100 hard breaths of the cold shower, right? And then go hard and fast.
That's awesome.
And I'll count 100 times. But I forgot. I told myself in the shower I would do it, and when I was done showering, I didn't do it. So
always tomorrow, homie. Always tomorrow.
Yeah,
you got this. You got this next time. Just write it down. Write it down.
Yeah, sticky notes.
Put a sticky note in the shower or in the bathroom before. Cold shower now.
Yeah, exactly. Be like parfaits.
I got to put reminders for push-ups too on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like every like 2 hours. Do 20 push-ups.
Oh, reminders. Yeah, calendar. Using the calendar feature has like improved my quality of life in so many ways and transformed my life in so many ways using a person.
Definitely, it works.
But yeah, guys. So we hit pretty much just past an hour here. Par. I enjoyed this one a lot. Yeah, man. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yeah, man. It's good times. We basically, share what's on our mind with MMA strategy and overall how we can, improve our health.
Yeah. So we'll try again Saturday next week. I mean, this is something that I look forward to. I try to do going forward. I mean, I learned from you, Parwiz. I catch up with you, and we'll do that with Chris as well.
And I'm sure a lot of people learn a lot from you too as well, right? In terms of all your techniques and
yeah,
it helps you basically solidify it in your mind and internalize it, right? So like when we speak about these things, we're speaking about our own goals. It's also to motivate people, but it also helps us, right?
100%. Yeah, good self-development opportunity. Also to just put ourselves on camera, not be shy, and present ourselves. It gives us self-assurance and lots of benefits all around. So I think we plan on posting some other stuff on this channel as well beyond just podcasts and us talking heads. We got skills, and I got skills. I would love to show it to the world as well.
Yeah, bro.
So, but yeah, anything else you want to share before we close it out, man?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing CJ in the next one, and we'll get his update on everything. Wishing him well, and yeah, we'll hopefully we'll see what happens in the MMA world, how things unfold tonight, and we'll have some more things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned, guys.
Yes, stay tuned. All right, guys, have a good remainder of your Saturday. And if you watched it up to this point, I hope you enjoyed it. So, all right, see you later, Paris.
Peace.
Later, bro.